As you can see, in this level, Mario comes out of his castle and goes through this pipe. He then ends up here in the underground. So let's check it out, shall we? That cut between sections is not to my liking. So how does one fix this, you might ask? Well, first you want to click Script and then click Open Local Script. Then Notepad will open. If Windows instead asks what you want to open the file with, click Notepad. Now type this exactly as it appears, capitalization and everything. This function executes when a section is loaded. But before we do that, we need a variable to keep track of where we are in the fading process. This variable can have any name. For this tutorial, I'm naming it fade value. Then we'll need a variable to keep track of whether we're fading or not. This variable can have any name, but for this tutorial, I'm naming it fading. At the top, we set this variable to false. Then, in our function, we set it to true. Then we define a new function, onDraw. This function executes every time the game draws graphics. This one's case sensitive, so type it exactly. You'll want to do graphics.drawScreen. Oh, don't make the mistake I did while recording this footage and put parentheses instead of curly braces. Here's pre-recorded me now fixing it. Then you'll want to put it in an if condition, the variable that keeps track of whether you're fading or not. Then on the inside of the curly braces, put power equals power 0, 0, 0, your variable for where you are in the fading process. Now, when you go to test, you will see just black. Why? Well, that's because we don't decrement the fading value. That means we stay at unfaded. To fix this, we, decrement the fade value. What to decrement it by is a matter of personal opinion. Lower values equals lower fade, higher values equals faster fade. Now if you were to test, you would see that it keeps fading. This is because we don't tell it to stop fading. To do that, we use this following code. By the way, that's the Lua comparator for less than or equal to. In this case, we are checking if the fade value is less than or equal to 0. If so, we say that we are no longer fading. Now, when you go to test, you will now see that it only fades once per level. Why? Well, that's because we don't set the fade value back to 1. To fix that, we put the name of your variable that keeps track of your fading process equals 1. Now, when you go to test, you will see it fades just fine. And that's it for this tutorial. See you next time.